Hello, everybody, and welcome to Boss Rush's Xbox podcast, Arsenal X. I am your host, Jesse Douglas, and I am here with Eddie, Not So Better B.
Welcome back to Arsenal X.
Hello, everybody.
I was thinking about that the other day, like Eddie V, and I'm like, I wonder if anyone has ever thought like that you were Eddie Vedder.
Probably not.
Just from seeing your name, but usually, yeah, you have a picture with your, on your social media and stuff, so it'd be kind of hard to, they look at your picture and, oh, is that Eddie Vedder? It's like, I think you need glasses, but, yeah, so how's it going, Ed? How's your weekend been so far?
It's been very interesting, I would say the least.
Yeah. I still need to hear about it.
Yeah. But I calmed down for the Nintendo Direct that happened this weekend, like really catching up on news and stuff like this. One of the things that we'll be talking about later, the Microsoft wireless headset. I'm like, it really looks cool and everything. And I was so excited to see that. I'm like, yeah, this is the stuff that Microsoft needs. And it looks really slick and stuff. But like I said, we're gonna be talking about that in news. But I've been really good, getting a lot of stuff done and being kind of frustrated with OBS, but still learning in a sense. And I think it's like once I get it figured out. And once things like run smoothly, I'll be able to do things a little bit better, I should say. But yeah, I did that. I've been educated. I've been learning.
Yeah, that's the thing with technology. It's never easy. There's never an easy solution to things. It seems like when it comes to technology, like I've been fortunate with some of this stuff that I've been messing around with, trying to get things, like set up where I can have a little bit more professional sounding of a setup. But yeah, I've been lucky, but I haven't started dealing with OBS and stuff. So yeah, if you're watching, obviously it's not as fancy and nice looking as Corey usually has it. I still need to get all the stuff from him, and then it will kind of look like it has before in the past. But yeah, I got to learn all that stuff too, and part of me is dreading some of that stuff too, because I do want to like stream this when I can. I mean, I know a lot of times we do it later at night, but it if people are up and want to watch it or whatever, they'll come and watch. So.
Yes.
But otherwise, I mean, it will just at least look nicer anyways when when we go to edit and everything, to have everything all nice and fancy with the lines and stuff on it. So, but yeah, so, well, that's good. Yeah. My weekend has just pretty much been cleaning and hanging out with the kids and stuff. And, I've been playing some games and stuff a little bit here and there, but, so yeah, just a little housekeeping though, really quick. If you want to listen to our other shows or find our other shows, we got a lot of great shows. I listen to like almost half of our shows myself just because I don't get to talk to everyone. But you can go to bossrushgames.com and basically anything and everything you'd need to know or want to know, or probably more than you'd want to know, you're going to find there. So. And then also remember that Arsenal X goes up every Tuesday. So if you waiting for that next episode, it'll be Tuesday. So
yes.
All right. And then we might as well get into what we've been playing, or what's in our arsenal, as it used to be called. I think we're gonna go back to that. So.
Okay. Yeah. So, well, what's been in my arsenal? Definitely for Xbox. I've been playing a little bit of the Hitman series. I think I'm playing Hitman 1 that I got for Games with Gold. and kind of learning the ropes and everything. And I'm going to really dig more into that because I've been also playing Doom Eternal, but I think what I have to do with Doom Eternal is just persist, like just make progress and get that game done and like put my I was I'm weird sometimes because sometimes I talk to myself. I'm just like I need to just finish Doom Eternal and get it off my system. Like I'm just not feeling this game at all. And I was planning on getting it on Switch, but I think just having it on Xbox One. And then whenever I get a Series X, probably like re-download it and see the difference. I think I'm getting my full feel of it. I think once I'm done with that game, I'm taking it off because I'm not liking it.
Yeah.
I think it's just too much the same as the regular Doom, and everything just feels boring. Like, I,
Well, for me, it was because I think I really liked what the first one did, and then they
yeah,
try to change it a little bit and tried to make it a little bit more like add some more mechanics, or not really mechanics, but add more like stylish kind of ways where you can refill your ammo and stuff like that. And I'll be honest, a lot of the times, like when I'm playing a game like that, I just want to shoot things and,
hmm
and just enjoy the story. But a lot of that, like trying to remember which kind of attack or combo thing I need to do in order to refill the ammunition that I need more of. Like it's taking my mind too much off of enjoying what's going on. And it's really easy to completely run out of ammunition and be stuck, like.
yeah.
So that's kind of what I ran into. Is I was just having trouble remembering what I needed to do to replenish certain ammunition. And it was too much work just to try to
It
figure out how to refill. So I
it
just kind of
loses
lost my attention.
it it loses its appeal like after kind of like the second stage because it's just like I'm gonna be doing the same thing over and over again, and it's just like I kind of don't get. I understand what they were going for, um, but the repetitive nature of it, I was just like, yeah, this is going to be a turn off. It's going to be, I feel like it's going to be a good, okay game, but once I finish it, it's out the door because I'm ready. Think I'm gonna jump back into ukulele, the first game because I have it on Xbox, and I'm struggling with Cyberpunk on if I should just wait till the next patch goes and then just finish it, or should I just you know load it up and just go to the main story? Because um, I
Do
don't
you
think
want my honest opinion?
I
Wait until you get a Series X because by the time you get a Series X, they'll have the Series X patch for it. Because that's honestly what I'm waiting
wait
for.
for.
I've owned it basically since it came out, but I haven't really put much into it because I just want to wait until the Series X the
But
Series X update comes out. So
but it's the same thing with Doom Eternal. It's losing its appeal with me, and maybe because it, maybe because I'm not getting it, it's not clicking in a sense, and clicking in a way that Titanfall 2 clicks, the way that Doom clicks, the way that Resistance 3 clicks, and I think I said Wolfenstein 2, like Wolfenstein 2 clicks. Like I think when I get in that zone in
mhm.
it and I'm just having fun and I'm like sometimes I could be strategic and stuff and have the right weapon, I'm good to go. And this just feels like this literally feels like this is an early beta game and it looks like a green like Steam game, but a little put together better in a sense, uh, yeah, it's just one of the games that it kind of it lost its appeal to me. But I'm going to search around and I'm going to finish it. I or just wait to Series X. Yeah, Cyberpunk is just not doing it for me. And I know like I said, I need to give it a fair chance to put in the work, but it's just like I don't know. Haven't felt this way about a game since uh Race 2. Is it Race? No, Rage 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like Austin even feels it too. He's just like, man, I get what this is, but I'm not feeling it. And I
For
guess it's
for Doom, for
no,
Doom
he's
Eternal.
playing Rage 2. He's playing Rage 2 on
Oh, okay.
PS4.
Rage 2.
So
Okay.
right, and it's just like the same way that I feel like Rage 2 was okay. Um I think it's like when a game loses its appeal, and they don't build up, it I guess the building up doesn't feel right. You kind of lose interest because it's just like I seen what you all have to offer. Now it's just you stretch this out long, and I got to be forced to deal with it. You know?
Yeah, I think that the Rage 2 suffers from kind of being stuck in an era that, or like when it came out it was already out of date. Like it wasn't doing anything new for the
Yes.
genre. Like honestly, like I like playing that. I went back more recently and I got the remaster version of um what is it, Red Faction, like the Red Faction games. And like honestly, those had more, stuff to do and more interesting things in it even than
Yeah.
Rage did. Like, I mean, it's a very similar game to Rage in some ways. But like, like being able to destroy things and like, there's at least some fun things in there that never really get old and are still enjoyable to do. But Rage just kind of like, it had it had good things and like the shooting and a lot of the stuff was good about it. It's just
Yeah.
there wasn't anything to set it apart from what had already come out. Like it just felt like it was made shortly after the first one came out, but it just
Mhm.
didn't get released until years later. Like they never really added anything to it to make it feel new or a more modern game. But yeah, like honestly, like when it comes to like Doom Eternal and stuff too, like honestly, if people haven't tried Ghost Runner yet, like I say just try something like that. Now, I mean that gets difficult,
Mhm.
but it's difficult in a different way where once you figure things out, just like like a really good beat 'em up or something like Castlevania or anything like that, like when you get a like everything kind of figured out and you can just run through something and just do it, like with ease and like this game basically is it's you just want to keep on going, like
Yes.
just keep going. You're swinging from things, you're jumping off of things, you're like timing your slice with your sword just right. Like that game feels the way that I wanted Doom Eternal to feel. I wanted it to feel like very fluid, and like there are times in Doom Eternal that it does feel fluid,
Mhm.
but there's those whole like reloading stuff of having to be conscious of what you're doing in order to reload things is what sets me back and like kind of puts up a barricade and doesn't quite let it be as fluid as it feels like it should be. Like I think the first game was way more fluid feeling, like you could just go through, you could do your thing and you could just keep moving and you'd be fine. But there's too much barricades in Eternal that can set you back and not allow it to be as fluid as you want it to feel, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what you're saying as well with it. But yeah, it is a bummer. I mean that, like I love how it looks and I do love that game, for a lot of things, but there are things that I just can't get over that kind of wrecked the experience for me. So I'm kind of in the same boat as you with that.
And I know I kind of made a joke at this, and I said that I see why Animal Crossing kind of dominated against Doom Eternal, but it's like I'm when we get to the Bethesda stuff, I'm like, I'm glad that a lot of their stuff is coming to Game Pass, that people are playing it, and everything.
Yeah.
I really thought this was going to be more than what it had to offer than the first one, and it feels like it's just there's something about it that is just not speaking to me, and I think that happens when you play a lot of first person shooters when you're playing it, a lot of those games grow throughout the whole campaign and stuff. Like even Call of Duty do some different things, and I think if you're doing first person shooters and you're going to give us like a 10 to 12 hour campaign, you need to bring some variety now. You just can't be shooting the same thing. You can't be running around almost in the same environments and jumping and like killing the same way. Because I'm like, once you see all the executions, you're going to be seeing that for the next 8+ some hours. The only thing that you can really look forward to is maybe the secrets and upgrading, but it's still you're doing the same execution. And I think nowadays with first person shooters, you got to bring some diversity to it. You got to bring some variety to it, because if you're doing the same thing, it's going to die out. No matter how your production stuff is, it is literally going to die out, and people are going to just move on because they don't want to play more of the same thing over and over. Like I would, I think if you feel like games like this are that repetitive, just play it on easy so you can get done with it. Get the story, do what you need to do, and move on.
Yeah, and I think the thing, like just to finish it like up with this, the thing with Doom, I think it's just not for certain people. Like I can completely understand why people do love, Doom Eternal, and there are a lot of people who absolutely enjoyed it. I think that was my issue with this one, is the first one felt a little bit more accessible to anyone, even if you're not like super great at first person shooters. But I feel like this one you have to be more like much better at first person shooters to really like, because a lot of people said like, like using the mouse and all that kind of stuff like felt better because it's much easier, because there are a lot more harder situations where it would be better to have that ease and quickness of moving your ridicule or whatever. So I think that's part of it too, is I feel like it's almost like it was a PC game put on consoles, so. And so like, yeah, like I if you love that game, good on you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Me and Ed, like it just was, I don't know, something about it just wasn't for me, because I absolutely loved that first one. Like
me too.
I was like seriously like one of the best games I had ever played. I'd put it up there with like Titanfall 2 and stuff, but yeah, there's just something about the second one that just didn't do it for me. So
Jesse, I screamed at the Nintendo Direct when Doom was coming to Switch.
Yeah.
I was just like, wait, what? And me and Corey, we talked to each other. We were just like, dude, they got Doom running on the reboot running on Switch. This is crazy. That direct when they showed it, and we'll get back to Xbox, was mind blowing crazy. And we was struck speechless because we couldn't say nothing. And I think that's when we become a bigger supporter of Bethesda. Like this is crazy. And it's just it's so good. That game, Doom, the first reboot Doom is just so good. It feels like it's a perfect 10. Like I wouldn't change nothing about it.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say is like, I feel like some games though, like like Halo was that way for the longest time,
Yeah.
where like you just almost some games, some shooters are just better left alone and not added to or changed in any like specific way, like other than just trying to do more story stuff, but yeah, so. But okay, so that's pretty much it for what you've been playing.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, so for me, I've actually been firing up Halo 5 and like just playing some multiplayer and and just kind of messing around in that and just having fun with it. And then I actually finally tried River City Girls, and I'm stuck on that first boss, but it's such a fun game. I'm really enjoying it. I believe that yeah, they just recently added it to Game Pass, so
Oh, nice.
yeah, so I haven't gotten too far into it, but I played through that, and it's kind of fun. Like I like the whole, like you can call like some people when you beat them up enough they'll plead for their life or whatever,
Hmm.
and you can add them to your roster, and and then like so there's like you push one of the I think it's the left trigger or the right bumper. It's one of those two. You can push it, and then they'll jump out and do a little attack thing and help you for a second, and then jump back away, kind of like the turtles stuff and all that
Okay.
used to do, like where you could call them in just for one little attack, and then they quick jump back out.
Hmm.
But yeah, it is a beat 'em up. And so like the whole idea of it is you're these two Japanese girls that are in school, and they find out that their boyfriends were kidnapped, and so they want to leave, and and the teacher's like, oh, what do you think you guys are doing? And they start yelling at them and cursing them out basically, and then after that the other kids in the class start trying to fight you, and he's just cowering by the chalkboard and stuff, and then you
Yeah.
fight those kids and then you leave,
So
and
yeah,
that's kind of how it starts. But
yeah, it's a take on a River City Ransom, where the
yep,
guys gotta
yep,
kind of save the girls and stuff. So they switched it up, and this is by Way For It. And
yeah,
I love Way For It. I support Way For It so much, dude. I just love them.
yeah. This game is a lot of fun, and like it's such a good beat 'em up just in general. It's not
Mm,
super easy. It's not like it's a pretty well balanced. I definitely have to use my analog or the directional pad though to play it,
hmm.
because like that tapping forward twice to run or whatever kind
Yeah,
of stuff, it's just not as easy to do on a
and
joystick. Yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much what I've been playing, other than like Fortnite and stuff here and there, but yeah, I'm enjoying that game and looking forward to getting a little bit further into that.
wow, cool.
So yeah,
I,
so that's what I've been playing.
I actually need to go with cut on my Xbox and get see what I think they released something more for Games with Go. I got to see what they release.
Yes. Shoot, I I forget what it was. I want to say there was something. It was something pretty good that they added
Yeah,
recently.
because
But
like yeah, because like I think it started the 16th, and I'm just like, man, the Games with Go stuff. I need to get it before it ends. So yeah, I'll check it. Don't worry about it.
yeah, no, I was just seeing if I could hopefully remember it, to even just mention it for people listening. But yeah, yeah, I think I want to start doing that, like things like that too, and just kind of I'll let you guys that are listening know, like what kind of games and stuff. I mean, I'm sure you probably are seeing them when you're turning your Xboxes on if you
Hmm.
got one. So, but to make it easier for people. But yeah, so
Yeah.
all right. Why don't we get into the news here a little bit? So I've got a couple of things here that to talk about. Some of these, well, a lot of them I got like from IGN and stuff. And the first thing, and no, I heard this on another podcast. They were talking about it, and I kind of wanted to look into it a little bit more. But I didn't really get, I'll be honest, I didn't get a chance to. But supposedly Microsoft buying Bethesda was part of the reason that Stadia closed their internal studios, supposedly. So I definitely want to find out more about that myself. That was just kind of something I was gonna just mention. I wasn't gonna go into too deep.
So what happened was that Phil Harrison told the team 5 days before they closed the studio that everybody was doing a good job, production was going well, and everything. And Phil Harrison knew that in the sense that they were going to end up closing. So when 5 days later he came back and said that Stadia, their studios was closing down. They were going to be moving some people to different departments and things like that. And Jay Raymond, she left to go. We don't know where she went. She's probably on break right now. I kind of want her to go to Retro in the Retro Studios in a sense. But right now that's kind of what happened, and the employees found out that they were closing the studio the same day that we found out that they was closing.
Yeah.
So they didn't know. They were kind of confused because a few days ago they were told that everything was okay, everything was running fine, and then this closure was happening, and that they were changing their strategy and stuff. And Phil Harrison, they think that Phil Harrison allegedly knew all about this before he actually came back and made that announcement that they were closing. So,
okay.
The weird thing with saying that that Microsoft buying Bethesda was part of the reason for it is very odd, because they knew that Microsoft bought Bethesda when the information went live. So with that, they had a chance to say something about it or to close the studio. But you got to remember that Stadia was kind of getting some praise because Cyberpunk was running on it. So it was kind of weird to see that you're saying that them buying Bethesda is the reason that part of it is closing down. But what does them acquiring studios have to do anything with it?
Okay. So I was just pulling it up here while you were talking. So according to Taku's source, Harrison pointed specifically to Microsoft's buying spree and planned acquisition of Bethesda software later this year as one of the factors that he made Google decide to close the book on original game development. Microsoft announced plans. Yeah, okay, never mind. I when I was reading that, I thought like they were planning on buying Bethesda, but then Microsoft took it from them. But yeah.
No,
it doesn't quite.
It doesn't make no sense, because the thing about it is Google Stadia had a whole year. Like 2019, it came out. They had their problems. 2020, they should have got that stuff together. But Microsoft buying Bethesda was out of the blue, because nobody knew that ZeniMax or any of their companies were in trouble or anything. I think Microsoft just made a power move to be like, hey, we got some money that we can support you, because Google is $1 trillion company, almost just like Microsoft. So what would them buying studios have to do anything with it? Like Google don't have to go and buy a studio to make their system great or keep their Stadia going. You're not really using you're not really using like a console to it. You're kind of using like this base thing, and then you're just streaming, and people who they gotta buy the games still, and if they take Google Stadia down, people lose it because it's all cloud gaming. What does buying ZeniMax have to do with them closing down? You buying a company is different than you having a company yourself that you created developing a game. They got there's no competition. Google's games are not going to be on Microsoft platforms. So what Microsoft can still put stuff on Stadia if they want to. They're putting stuff on Steam. So if they want to put some ZeniMax stuff on Stadia, they could.
I wonder if it's just maybe that they seen Microsoft buying up all those, buying, like going on a buying spree, and they didn't want to because let's be honest, like Google Stadia basically was and Phil Spencer and them had said this much, that Google Stadia really they looked at as their competitor. Like Sony was there, but as far as what Microsoft plans to do for the future of streaming and stuff like that, they really looked at Google as more of their competition, because they were the only ones in that space, and so I wonder if Google got scared that anytime they showed any interest in buying up a studio, that Microsoft would try to come in and make it harder for them. And so they just thought, well, forget it. Let's not even bother going into those waters, because we're, we don't, well, let's be honest, they don't know what they're doing. And when it comes to games, like they really don't know a whole lot about that part, the bigger game industry. And so when it comes to Google and Microsoft coming head to head fighting for something, I don't think Google is in a place to know what they're doing. And they probably seen that and we're like, we probably shouldn't even bother with this part of it.
The thing about it, it's not even that. Google still had to fix their functionality. You cannot market stuff that's 4K 60 frames per second, and you're still not delivering this. You're still doing commercials where you're not even delivering on the functionality. Microsoft, in some way, is trying, but they really, you have heard me many times get on Microsoft to say that you guys are not marketing this system right, because when you keep saying 4K 60 frames, you don't say that you got to choose between 4K frames.
Stadia.
No, I'm talking about with Microsoft too. When they say 4K 60, you're saying that it sounds like that you're getting 4K, with 60 frames per second, but in reality, you have to choose the frame rate versus performance. The same thing with Google. The same thing with Google Stadia.
That's always been the case, even for back in 360 and PS3 days, and everyone would say it's always been that it's the highest frame rate that you can reach on games, and it's also the highest fidelity that you can reach on games, but you can't always have both on every game, but it is capable of doing both of those things.
And that's the thing of the marketing, and this is where Microsoft and Google both fail at, is that you cannot keep saying that, oh, you get to play your stuff in 4K 60 frames per second, and when you get the system, you get the game, you got to choose. They never. I keep saying this. I'm like, if you're going to market stuff like this, you need to tell the consumers in your marketing that you could choose between 4K or you could choose between 60 frames per second. Because the thing about it is, when I hear 4K 60, I'm hearing that I'm getting it together. And if you say that you got the most powerful system to do it, or even your cloud-based system can pull this off, I shouldn't be able to choose to it.
Yeah,
PC,
really, really, the thing is too is I think Stadia just just, they promised way too much in the
Yeah.
beginning. And the thing is I do think that they could have pulled it off, because technically, like, when you're looking at what Stadia does compared to what the
Microsoft does.
yeah, what Microsoft does. Now, Microsoft stuff is just an addition. It's not
The
the
base.
only way. Yeah, it's not the base way to play stuff, but Stadia does do one thing better, and that is that their controllers can connect to Wi-Fi,
Hmm.
getting rid of some of that latency that is there on Microsoft's end.
Yeah.
um and like, now there I'm sure there's multiple ways you can fix those things that Microsoft will figure out in time, but they have the luxury of it not being their main base way to play their games, and so they can kind of take their time with it and figure things out. But
Hmm.
what happened now is now you've got Amazon Gaming, which they do, their controller does the same exact thing. It connects to Wi-Fi, but they're what the way that they offer things, you're actually getting like more of like a Game Pass style thing, where when you pay for the service, there's a whole buttload of games that you'll get to play for free without having to buy them.
Hmm.
Plus, you can buy games, I believe, on top of that. So they're already, Stadia already screwed up, and now they've let someone else just out of nowhere come in there, do the same thing they're doing, but then do it better. So, like, I mean, to me, that's just another example of they just do not know what they're doing when it comes to the gaming industry.
They thought they knew, but the thing about it is that when you're doing stuff like this, you gotta give people time with the demo. You gotta give people time to understand why they need it. You need to get your hands on. You need to test stuff. You need to get the surveys back and research and develop it, because I call this is the Fallout 76 problem, where
Mhm.
you give people a little bit and then you just release the product, and then your product is not up to snuff that you've been hyping and talking about. You really need time to really get the hands on and like really break things down and showcase it.
Yeah.
Google, they have the functionality to do that. A lot of people use Google website to search the internet and everything. Maybe it should have been, maybe before like the system came out or anything, if it was a software thing where anyone could just jump on, give this thing a test play, see how it is and give surveys way before the system came out, I think Google would have been in a better place, because now the variety of opinions coming from what they play will help them better their experience. So when they're ready to release Google Stadia, they have that information to release it. Microsoft, trust me, Microsoft does a lot of testing. They do a lot of surveys. They put stuff out for people to try and see what people are going to say. Whether they bring the product out or not, they're going to test, because they need that information to make that product better. If the information is not good and they still are having problems, Microsoft will kill it.
Yeah. And to wrap this one up, yeah, I
Mm.
think it's basically, that's it. Like, Microsoft has basically said, like, multiple times, and they've proved it, that they're listening to what people have to say. They're, what
Mm.
the people who are buying their products have to say. I mean, just look at what happened with Halo Infinite after, it had some bad, some bad looks when they showed the trailer and stuff, and they've kind of, it sounds like they've actually did a big overhaul on like graphics and everything. So they, they're definitely listening, and they know that they've wasted all their chances with people, and they've got to try to do things right. So
Yeah, people were just like, we know you guys could deliver better quality than this. I like me and you talked about it. We know that this slipstream engine is brand new and everything, but people want that quality to be better. And I don't even think because it's running on Sirius XM it should look good. It should just be like the quality should be up to par because you guys are 343 Studio. You got one of the biggest properties in gaming history, and we want you guys to succeed with this. That's
Yeah.
all people care about.
Yeah. And so, okay, so one other thing, so like as Microsoft was, speaking of Bethesda and ZeniMax, as they've been kind of finishing up that and completing that deal, they actually created a new company, and that company or that studio will be called Vault. So, I'm guessing because of Fallout, you Vault 101 and all those famous things. So
Yeah.
it only makes sense to use something unique to their properties to kind of make a fun studio name. So yeah, so moving forward, once that deal is complete, all the Bethesda ZeniMax stuff will all be basically underneath the Vault name. So yeah, that'll be fun. I'm excited. I can't wait. Once they're in the fold and we really get to see what kind of fun things we've got coming up. So, and I have a feeling this around E3 time we're gonna see some of that stuff come to light. So
Yeah.
So yeah, and the next thing then, and we kind of, I'd kind of touched on this a little bit, is that new wireless headset that's coming out for
Yes.
$100. And yeah, like I had been kind of looking into it and stuff, and kind of listening to people talk about it. And so like one of the, like, because that trailer that we got didn't really say a whole lot. It just kind of gave us a look at it and all that stuff. And so I actually went on an article on CNET, and I was kind of looking into it more about that. And so what's really cool is finally we will be able to use any kind of chat form that we want to use to chat with our friends while we're playing games. So basically this headset will have the ability to connect to your phone and your Xbox at the same time. So you'll be able to hear the sound of the game you're playing from your Xbox through the headphones, but at the same time also be able to hear your voice chat from whatever chat you're using, but be it Discord or probably even Skype, like whatever you want to use, as long as you're running it off of your phone, you'll be able to hear those being mixed into your ear at the same time. And I'm sure you'll be able to like adjust the sounds of one if you want to hear more of your chat versus the sound from the game. But yeah, so that's a real big thing, because that's just something. Well, I mean, there's a lot of things when it comes to headsets that have been limited when it comes to the Xbox side of things, but this is definitely a nice big step in the right direction, and them finally stepping up to try to compete with Sony when it comes to like their headsets, stuff like that. So
well, I think the one thing is it's probably going to be kind of the connection thing, because I think when you're playing a game with Xbox, you're probably kind of focusing on everybody talking through Xbox. You kind of don't think of this Discord, or you don't think of Skype and be like, who's joining me while I'm talking to my friends? We just trying to do this Destiny raid or something. It's kind of it may be a lot, but I think once people get used to it and get the hang of it and understand it a little bit better, it's going to be a nice thing. I like that they gave a lot of options to this. For this thing, and I think for me it's like I really want to hear it. I want to hear how crisp and how good the sound is, because like if like I like Gears 5 is going to probably be the test for me because Gears 5 sounds amazing in the headset. Like it
Yeah.
really does. And if this could rival Turtle Beach got a lot of work to do. To say that, and hopefully that like this new wireless headset, hopefully it's not cheap, like it breaks or something like it's not working or everything. I really hope that it has a good battery life too. You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
I believe it was going to be 14 or 15 hours.
Hours.
Yeah,
Okay.
worth
Yeah.
of
So
battery life. Which I'm guessing it's going to be the standard new, like it's going to be the Type C, USB, and all those things.
oh
So
please do.
I'm guessing it's going to be really easy to just have it plugged into your Xbox, kind of like the controllers,
Mm.
like what I do with the controllers right now. You just plug it in when you're not using it, and then it's charging. Like basically treat it like your controllers. I'm That's my guess. I don't know that 100% for sure, but I'd almost bet on it because I feel like everything's going to Type C now and stuff.
And you know what? Type C is kind of since I got my Switch and my Pro controller and I use Type C, man, it's such a game changer. It
Oh
really
yeah,
makes
it's nice being able to plug it in without having to look. Ooh, do I have it the right way
right way.
before I plug it? Because either way is the right way. So
And
it's
and 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 it sticks in. It doesn't fall
yeah,
out.
yeah,
So
yeah. Well, and trust me, when you have kids and they've destroyed like four tablets because they didn't have the Type C and they would shove it in the wrong way and push the
uh,
whole charging metal part inside of
uh,
the tablet. Yeah, Type C. I wish it would have came out like 10 years ago
is yes.
because like it is just so much more superior than the old mini USB type, whatever.
And the
But
old
yeah,
Android
it was
ones.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was bad. And that's one thing that even though I'm not an Apple fan, they have always at least they may have made their own versions of it there for a little while, but at least the way they had things, you could plug it in any way that you
Mhm.
wanted to. That's
Yes.
one thing that I do admit they were definitely ahead of the game with.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yes.
so that yeah, $100 for that new headset. It
Yeah.
looks amazing.
Yeah, I think it's March 16th for the release or something, sometime
Yeah.
in March.
Yep.
It is, but yeah, if people want to pre-order it, go ahead and pre-order it. I'm going to try to do a pre-order. If not, I'll see if I can get one when I go to the store. And hopefully Microsoft sends a lot to the store for people to go in and buy. I mean, that would be cool.
Yeah. All right. And so this next story that I have is it's just kind of something a little fun. It doesn't seem like a big deal like on the face of it, but so Microsoft I believe they've already actually rolled out a few games that are doing this, but the engineers and stuff have found a way to kind of trick old games into running a lot of the times twice the frame rate, or more, even like four times, like games
Mhm.
that were only running at 30 frames per second originally are now they have them able to run at 120 frames per second on the Series X. So they did do a batch of games. It's kind of reminds me of when they first started rolling out the backwards compatibility,
Yeah,
and stuff of old games. Like I believe these are 360 games. One of them is, I think, Super Lucky's Tale.
that's
Um,
Xbox One.
yeah, yeah. So that yeah, it's some Xbox One games, I think, and I want to say maybe it wasn't 360 yet. Maybe they're just working on Xbox
That's the one.
One games. But yeah, now having them be able to run, at really good frame rates and stuff will just kind of be, it'll be nice, especially for games like Super Lucky's Tale, where it's a platformer type game. Like I remember seeing where they showed, how Ori looked in the 30 frames and then showed what it looks like in 120, and it's just so buttery smooth that it's just makes that game just look so much better because you can see every little detail, just moving fluidly. And so, yeah, like, but so like the way they did this is like, I guess on a hardware level, they were able to like unlock some more power for frame rate type stuff. And so like, this is always the case though. When we get new consoles, they're always still learning exactly what they can push these things to do,
Oh yeah.
and we already know that that like, the games and stuff that we're getting right now on Series X, like they may look really good and run really good, but they're still not using most of the the power or the capabilities that these consoles have. They're still not even breaking it in yet. So it's
and I think a lot of it has to deal with this is their first games coming out for Series X, and they're learning the engine, learning the tech and stuff. And so once they get the know-how and they're still learning, by the time they get probably to the third or fourth game, and the Life series is, if it's still like halfway with the Life series, they're going to be able to do some amazing stuff. And depending on what engine that they use, it's going to look breathtaking. It's going to be like it's more of the look than the experience itself. The look is going to be like, wow, they really did something with this. The experience is going to be like, okay, whatever the gameplay is, the gameplay is. But like if they could do a lot with it, I would say probably with about 23, probably year 23, I think maybe even just 80% of the Series X power will be unlocked. And I think still more people will be finding out more about it.
Yeah, I think it will take a couple of games getting in. Like you figure if a game takes about 2 or 3 years to make, and then they kind of can start working on some of that stuff, and then the next time around, I think, is when they'll really start getting into a little bit more. And like, because that's always how it is, like every console, we always see the best looking games at the end of it, and then when we go back and look at those first games and compare them to the ones that came out at the end of it, we're just like, holy, like this, I can't believe that these were on the same console, like
it's the evolution.
Yeah. And the one thing too, like you were talking about experience and stuff, and I do feel like these consoles are pushing some, or well, I mean, at least for Series X so far, like we know with the medium that game would not have been able to work on Xbox One because it just didn't have the computing capability to be able to render two different, essentially run the game twice side by side and play it at the same time. And then, like what really helped with this is that game as well is the hard drive. But again, that fired on those two cylinders, but there's still those, the ray tracing and all these other things that the Xbox is capable to do that it didn't even really touch at all. So once we can see games using all of those things in one game, that's when it's really going to start to be exciting and stuff.
Yeah.
And and even like when the Ratchet and Clank come out, like they're going to be using the ray tracing, and definitely it's going to be the hard drive that's going to allow that game to play the way it does.
Yes.
But outside of that, that game I don't feel like is really going to be using anything, any other features other than that really that the PS4 couldn't do. So like the Medium, like that's like those two games are kind of showing off parts of these new consoles that we wouldn't be able to experience on the last consoles.
And then I think
But we're
sometimes
gonna see more and more stuff that will show a lot of those off in one game.
And I think sometimes it plays off the graphical art style that they're using. Ratchet and Clank got
Yeah.
this. It's detailed, but they still got that Insomniac cartoony art style. Where the Medium is like to bring that horror or that spooky feel to it. They gotta use darker tones. They gotta make it look a little bit more realistic and have more 3D assets and stuff. So I think when we get more into the future and we see developers deciding on what graphics that they're going to use, it's going to actually show off the power of that system. I think Series X really is powerful, and so like Hellblade is going to look maddening because Ninja Theory are great art. They're great artists, and definitely their new game. It's just like their new game that's coming up looks is going to look bunkers too.
Yeah. Speaking of. Just really quick, if you have not seen it yet, go on YouTube, search for Project Mara, or I think even you can just search Ninja Theory, and then go to their videos and look up their diary kind of series that they got going on for Project Mara, because they show what kind of crazy technology they're working with and what they're showing, what they want to be able to do in that game. And it is some of the most intriguing, coolest looking stuff that I've seen personally when watching like any kind of behind the scenes making of a game type stuff. Like they're getting to go to like real like places out in like different countries, and like they're using the shit that like scans mountains and stuff and takes a exact like picture of in every detail of mapping and everything, and being able to use that information directly in the games. So like it's crazy. If you have not seen that, I suggest, especially if you're an Xbox fan, go check those out, because it's get me a little bit excited for what the future lies in that studio.
I kind of want to see what Square Enix, if they would ever go back to their Luminous engine. And if people don't know about that, they did a comparison. They took an actual garage with cars in it, and they like literally designed almost the same thing to the point where you can't tell the difference. The only way you could tell it is if you look a little bit closer to it, one of the pictures, and you see a little sprite, like a little graphics, but it was almost 1-to-1 ratio spot on. And they haven't used it or anything, but their engine really look at, to me, their Luminous engine really put Unreal Engine 4 to shame. But
and that's the thing though. I think we're going to see with this next generation of console. I mean, we already know Unreal Engine is it's getting its update, or it's already basically, I think, rolled out to some developers. So like I could definitely see with this new technology that we have in these new consoles, that I feel like some of these companies are going to have to update their engines and stuff. Especially to deal when it comes to ray tracing and things like that, as it becomes more and more of a thing that's kind of in everywhere now. They're going to have to start using that stuff and using that technology if they want to really make their games look good. They can't always rely on the hardware to hopefully do what they want it to do. So and that's why I think the new Unreal Engine is going to tackle ray tracing from a software standpoint, because it just is going to make it so much easier for lower powered systems to be able to still, use those things. So
Yeah,
it's just already heard they talked about, like ray tracing on Switch, because if a game is made with ray tracing through their software, it will show up on the Switch game, and you don't need that power to do it on a hardware side,
Yeah, we'll see when Unreal Engine when it's actually released, because I know Sony right now has it time exclusive, so it's locked. Even though other games can use it, I think they'll probably bring that game out when it's unlocked for Series X and probably for Nintendo Switch. But yeah, I'm excited to see. I'm literally am excited to see, and it's really cool that Microsoft did this boost performance for these old games to run better. I still think that's really cool. I love the fact that they're tinkering and they are. If Phil Harrison, not Phil Harrison, if Phil Spencer continue to let those engineers fool around and unlock stuff, man, Xbox Series X is going to be the system that's going to be like, you thought that we had this kind of potential, but you just didn't know that it got more potential than unexpected.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like if companies or especially when it comes to hardware and computers, like like just settling for what you have isn't always the best choice, because if you mess around with things and you tinker with things, you can definitely find more and more cool things and secrets and and stuff like that. So it's I'm glad that they're really getting to just kind of have fun with playing around with it and just seeing what they can do with it. So it's exciting, and I'm sure that kind of stuff is happening on the Sony side as well, and it'll be fun to see what their future brings as well. So it's it's going to be exciting. So I did have a question from Austin, but I think I'm going to save that for next week. I think we just finish it, because we've had a lot of good discussion on this show, and I don't want to make it run too long. So so we'll just Ed, where can we find you?
So you guys can find me on Twitter at that pressure code. You can check out Nintendo Pop Block on Mondays, 7:30, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's when we'll go live. Also, check out Crossroads. That's our PlayStation podcast. They record on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. and definitely watch it this week if you guys are hearing this before they go live. They have the voice actor of Leon from Resident Evil 2 on there, so do go check that out. You'll find that at Exodus 803 EXODUS DUS 803 on Twitter and on Twitch and on YouTube. Like, really, guys, check that out and stuff like that. It's going to be a very entertaining show. With it,
and their show is always entertaining.
It is.
If you love PlayStation, over Xbox, I have no hate for you. Go listen to their show and enjoy it. Like because I listen to their show. I try to catch it occasionally and listen to it myself, even though I don't literally own anything PlayStation other than a PS1 and a PS2. but hey, like those guys, they're a lot of fun. So definitely go check them out. So and then you guys can find me on Twitter at that retro code, and you guys could check out Optional Opinion on SoundCloud, other podcast apps, and World11 at podbean.com. We've been going back through our old episodes, so you guys go check that out. Nice. Yeah, and you can find me almost everywhere as Phantom NXS. And don't forget, Tuesdays the show will be live. All right. Why don't we throw up the X?
Let's throw up the X. Yes.
Because we're gonna exit
out.
All right.
And everybody, as always, let's continue to play video games and be better to one another. Ready,
Yeah,
Jesse?
Yep, that sounds like a good idea.
All right.
Take it easy.
Bye, everybody.